Okay, good afternoon folks, good afternoon traders. It's Friday at last. Quick sound check before I start the rant. Okay, I've got the drum roll, thanks very much indeed, and I am back on. Well guys, I mean, who would have thought this? I mean, this is the week where, thanks Joey, this is the week where we've been waiting for about 9 months, give or take 9 months in terms of Brexit. Sterling was knocked off its perch by 10%, Armageddon, and we're going to end the week looking here at the 1 day. This is the white line, this is British pound, this is the 4 hour British pound, 1 hour British pound, 15-minute British pound is heading down a little bit at the moment. British pound, the strongest out of the basket of currencies in the week that we've triggered Article 50, and we are leaving the European Union. So that's a pretty monumental week, I think, for pound, indeed for cable as well. So it's something that certainly surprised a few. You know, I've been talking about sitting on a beach with a long-term option on pound for a long time. Of course, it's only the first week, but that is possibly the way. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. I don't think for one moment we're not going to see any shakeouts in pound. I mean, this is not one-way ticket to huge profits just by buying pound, because it's going to have its shakeouts. It's going to have a lot of uncertainty as things hit the news wires, as roadblocks start emerging in negotiations. So it's not plain sailing at all. But there's no reason at all why pound can't be knocked off its perch. At the moment we're sort of firmly above. Let's put up the cable. We're firmly above the 125 level. It's liking 125. There's no reason at all why we can't have a shakeout early next week with any negative news that comes out, and you can see yourself back down here at the 123.50 level, without too much of a problem. So there's still, you can still have a shakeout, and indeed, if it really starts turning south, you could find yourself testing the 120 level again. So it's not all over. I've just thought I'd mention it's a monumental week, and we are ending the week on such a high note for pound. It was certainly noteworthy. I think one of the most significant things for me in terms of looking at pound is what's really happened in my favourite pair today. For those that followed my trade signal this morning, or my stream this morning when we took the live trade, and of course my trade idea was pound euro. Now the euro basically, it's got ahead of itself, didn't it? The euro this week got ahead of itself, and that's just my trade idea from this morning. So I'll take those off, but just take those off. Yeah, so the euro got ahead of itself as of the ECB comments last week, all hawkish and talking about tapering and cutting its stimulus and what have you, and then they announced latter part of this week that that's all a mistake. They've been misrepresented, and that there's no easing up of the tapering. So that sort of shook a few of the euro bulls out of the tree. And also the other thing about the euro market, the euro dollar, we've everyone's been concerned about the British pound with Brexit, but they haven't really seemed to have let the euro get away with it. Now I think the realisation coming in is that it's not necessarily good for Europe either. So this is why I think you've seen the euro have a shakeout. So we had a nice profit on the euro pound. I am, for what it's worth, still short euro yen. I don't think that's going. Well, just on the euro pound while I'm on this screen at the moment. This is the 1 hour. It's no full disclaimer. It's now 6:05 here in GMT in London, and it's also a beautiful spring evening. So I'm not going to be at the screen for much longer. But so I'm not going to be taking any trades into the weekend. However, the euro pound is still a trade that I would be looking at. Certainly, has my attention from next week. I think the euro's got some certain amount of pressure of its own. If you look at some numbers we had out today in Germany, we had weak unemployment, lower inflation numbers coming out of Germany as well. And of course the Brexit concerns. So the euro still has got its pressure to contend with of its own. You've got the elections coming up in France in a couple of 3 weeks' time. Now, of course, the left wing, Le Pen, she's still still down in the opinion polls, but she's still holding a healthy second place. And when you're holding a healthy second place, as we know with Trump and as we know with Brexit, opinion polls can be wrong. So there's always that concern. If you look at Brexit this week, they were concerned up to until the actual letter was handed over. I mean, then the market reacted when they actually saw the letter going over. So until we actually see the results from the French elections, then of course, there's still uncertainty there, and the markets don't like uncertainty. They they can price in risk, but it's the uncertainty that they have trouble with. So the euro still has got some issues of its own. Short covering we've seen certainly in pound, which has helped us. So this pair is one of my favourite pairs at the moment, euro pound. Still looking to take shorts in this in any pullback into this trend. As I say, full disclaimer, I'm not going to be trading this afternoon. So those of you in the US, you've still middle of your day, so you've still got some opportunities. But I'm not going to be sitting here for much longer myself. Had I been sitting here for much longer, if I was looking to get a short today for a short play, I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't. I think Friday afternoon you could have some month-end squaring off. It's the end of the month, end of the quarter. There's a Japanese start of the new year as well. So there's a lot of month-end squaring off here. So I personally wouldn't be getting involved in this. I mean, if you want to take 10 pips out of it, then even taking 10 pips out of it could snap back and you can get stopped out pretty quickly. But my bias for next week is certainly continued weakness to the downside in euro pound. As I say, I'm still short euro yen. I'll pop back to my screens. Okay, that's moving nicely now. As before I came on stream, it's moving down as we speak. So I'm still a ways away. I had quite a wide stop on this little puppy. I had a 60 pip stop, pretty much a 1-to-1, a bit more than a 1-to-1. What am I now? I'm now looking at. I'm now not far away. I'm halfway between now. Halfway between. I don't tend to. I'll close this down before tonight, before I go to before I turn off my screens at 4 hours time. I'll honestly close this out. But the bias, only because I don't want to gap. I don't want to gap over the weekend. I mean, it's Japanese. As I say, it's Japan year end tonight. New financial year starts on Monday. I mean, anything can happen over the weekend. So the chances are I will square this position off ahead of the weekend. Although the bias still would be, to continue on. But I'm not in the business really of gambling. I'll leave that to others. The only trade that I've held over the weekend was the buy dollar yen short, which was a holiday trade when I went to Thailand last week, a couple of weeks ago. It was such a small trade; it's only a 0.3 of a lot that it didn't really concern me. I had to stop in and forgot about it. But I'll mostly square this one off euro yen, but the bias still would be to play this one from the downside. Okay. Yeah, so pound still has solid support. Just looking at the other strong currencies. Oops, excuse me. And then I'll leave you all. So we've all been playing. We've all been certainly looking at my screens are going berserk. I need to reboot this. Everyone's been looking at the CAD strength, and rightly so. CAD has had a great week in terms of oil prices and data out. We had good numbers out in Canada today as well. What do we have out in Canada? We had a GDP out in Canada today. Good numbers out there. My only concern about Canada at the moment, guys, is the oil price. Now we're up here because of one of the reasons, of course, is oil prices. We've had a reasonably good move in oil prices this week. Okay, we're ending not far off the highs in oil for the week. It's been good for oil. Now this is all on the back of OPEC hinting or discussing they are extending the cuts in production. Obviously, we had problems in Libya as well with a disaster there, natural disaster there, and Russia. So we've had some good bid on the oil prices. My concern is, if OPEC don't deliver, because it's still ongoing negotiations, nothing's been set in stone at the moment, they're still negotiating. If they turn around and don't deliver what the market is looking for, then you can see the oil prices drop 5%, not a problem. And if oil prices drop 5%, then of course that's going to hurt the CAD as well. So as whilst we've liked the CAD this week, and it's had some great opportunities for us, and I think we've all made a few pips out of CAD this week. I hope you have anyway, if you've been following us. I'm mindful of this one at the moment. On the 4 hour, it's still the second strongest currency in the basket, but I do have reservations about that. So I'm quite thankful that it's the weekend and I'm not going to be taking any more positions. I'm quite happy to walk away from it now, and let's see what pans out in that. But it has got concerns in there. Okay, we'll just end off then having a quick look at the dollar index. As we spoke about this morning, dollar index, I gave you this level of concern. I actually said we're going to be looking to get into level. This is my area of concern from this morning, and it was 148 to 160, and it basically peaked at 146. It missed my my area of significant resistance by a couple of pips, and has rolled over. I don't think you're going to see a spurt up this afternoon or this evening in the UK, in London, or in the US. I think it's more likely to stabilise back down here at around the 100 level ahead of next week. All important next week. A lot of data out next week, guys, which will be keenly watched. We all know that the Fed are looking at data for the next move. There's a lot of talk going on this week from the Fed people about obviously about the hikes and what have you, and some more hawkish and what have you. But at the end of the day, it's down to the data, and we've got the all important NFP at the end of next week, amongst other things. Now, I don't know if you look at data on the Forex Factory, but also you can, if you go to our site here, okay, our site. I don't know if people look at this too much, but we mark out our data a lot further than the Forex Factory does. So you can look down here to see what's coming out. If you want to plan your week ahead, you can always do this in advance of Forex Factory, and you can just scroll down here for the days. Okay, and it tells you in a different format. It tells you the days to go, and indeed, if you look at something close, it gives you that's done. So it gives you a countdown to it as well. So it gives you the minutes to go before the announcement. So this is quite a useful way of displaying it. Not sure if people have looked at this before, but it's quite a useful way of displaying it. I think it's something you should always be looking at in terms of your day trading. Always have this, pop in here and see how many hours before bigger impact news is coming. These are all low impact news is tonight or this afternoon. But it's a good way of counting down. We've got 2 days for the Japanese manufacturing outlook. Okay, we got yeah. So keep an eye out. No, do use that. It is a very useful little offer that we have here on the site. Quick look at the bond yields. US bond yields now 2.4, firmly supported above 2.3. So the dollar above 100 on the index is going to be supported by. Well, I think the dollar is above because of the support we're seeing in the dollar in bond yields. So let's look for the stock market next week. The stock market is stabilising around the 20,700 level. If the stock market were to retest the lows of 2,400, if that has a shakeout, and if Trump starts, the Trump slump continues, and the stock market rolls over, then you could see certainly this pull back down again as people move into bond. This will pull back down to the 2.3 level, and of course that's going to put the dollar index back down to below par heading towards 99.50. So keep an eye on stocks, keep an eye on the bond market for your sort of leads, as it were. Right, I haven't been looking at the chat. I don't know if anyone's been chatting to me on the chat room before I sign off for the weekend. CAD yen, CAD yen, nice trend line on the 1 hour. Let's have a look at the CAD yen 1 hour. If you want to see what's going on behind me here, seeing my daughter on the exercise bike, she's cycling away. Good girl. Keep going. So the CAD yen, nice trend line on the 1 hour. My mouse is playing up, so I'm not going to be able to draw this trend line, but yep, nice 1 hour trend line. We've broken through there. Yeah, like that one. Nice one, Will. So I mean, this is obviously, I'm not in the business of standing in front of big trending markets. If I drill it out to the 4 hour, let's have a look to see if yeah. I appreciate that, Will. That's a good call, because we've hit some big structure resistance here in the CAD yen on the 4 hour. We've now broken through that trend line support. This could signal a mini counter reversal, exactly, back down to these levels, 82.70, 100 points to the downside. I'm not trading, but I like that. I mean, obviously, CAD at the moment has got the bid with oil and what have you. If you bear in mind my risk that I mentioned a moment ago about oil prices, if this was to materialise, then of course CAD yen could be heavily sold. I mean, this is on the back of oil prices and CAD data, but yeah, it looks as though we've broken a bit of a trend line support here. So yeah, nice one, like that. Hi, Mattiogo. Nice light man. You took that with you. Sorry, I'm missing the thread here of the chat, so I'm just trying to catch up. Joey, thank you for another good tip. I can't remember what that tip was, but I'm sure it was a good tip. Dollar yen. Now I just took as I think I said, I was short dollar yen over the last week. I was actually stopped out for a 300 pip profit on this move up to the upside. Okay, I mean, dollar yen at the moment, it really does have to take its direction from where the dollar's going at the moment. I mean, I'm not totally convinced by the dollar rally. It's had the rally and it bounced off that level of that I mentioned on the index, 150 level basically on the index. It's come off there pretty rapidly, and you saw gold prices bounce back up to 1250 on the back of it, or pretty much 1250 on the back of it. I'm not totally convinced with the dollar rally. We've had a rally. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days this week. We've had every day this week. The dollar's closed higher, than the previous day. I'm just not. I'm not convinced until we actually see something more coming out of the Trump administration whether this dollar rally is going to be sustainable. We'll have to wait and see. At the moment, for my trading, I have to do what the market tells me I was doing, so I don't take a view on the market. What's the market telling me at the moment? The market's telling me at the moment on a longer time frame, selling into this minor rally. This is the fall off from the beginning of the month, dollar. The long-term bias is to the downside. My bias would be to sell into any dollar strength at the moment. sell into any dollar strength and buy gold. Anything above 1260 in gold is going to establish an uptrend in gold. EuroCAD. Didn't I not look at EuroCAD? I look at so many things out today. Well, EuroCAD's been a great little trade. We've been trading that all week. I think I took some good profits out of that yesterday, and so did Jason, I believe. I think Jason might still be short of it, or maybe short Euro Oz. EuroCAD, yeah. I mean, you've got to sell it, haven't you? I mean, it's no different than any other strong over weakness. We've got euros being the weak currency, CAD being the strong currency. You've got to sell this little baby, getting in for the latter part of the afternoon. If you're still trading for the next 5 hours, and you're going to take a short, if it bounces back up in the next couple of hours or so, you can take a short in EuroCAD. Take a short in EuroCAD. Around that level, no problem. Which is the 42.35 level, 15 pips from here. Done? Okay. Have some water. Want some water? So EuroCAD, I'm a short bias to that one. Bam Stocker. I'm new in here. Thank you for your insights. Good to have you, Bam Stocker. You can always repay the thanks by putting in a trade idea. Trade ideas are welcome from all. So if you want to say thanks, put in a trade idea. Let's know what you're thinking. Get as many of these trade ideas up as possible. As I said many times, no such thing as a bad trade idea, but all ideas are good. Everyone's got their own different ideas, of course. And so you put some trade ideas in there if you can. If you've got, I know people are busy, but if you've got time to put in a brief description of your trade ideas, then it shows us what we're thinking. And we all learn from trade ideas, I learned from trade ideas. So someone you mentioned a moment ago about that trend line that trend line. I mean, I can't remember what it was now, but yeah, that was a good. It's a good insight. It's something I'd missed, but it's a good idea. I like that one. Right, okay, let's look at some trade ideas. So Renko guy says you can drag the time toolbar up and make more room for your charts. Yeah. Thanks for that, Renko. I'll play with that. I think not my best platform, MT4. Okay, so what we got? Euro dollar from Techno Byte 1 hour ago. Long euro dollar. Not too sure about that at the moment myself, but yeah, it's a good idea. Good to see the idea come up. Whoa, what's all this? Patience till Monday. I get that. I don't understand what all this is about. That's fine. Shows my naivety. I like this one 6 hours ago, Kitchi. Like the Euro Oz short. Should be doing well on that. Nice one. Just a continuation down, perhaps. We'll be waiting for a close. I think Kitchi's asleep at this time of the day, but thank you for that, Kitchi. Yeah, so keep the trade ideas coming, guys. Always good to see what people are thinking. And I'm going to leave it there for now. Right, folks. Well, there you have it. Only central bank talking next week is the RBA. Not expected to do anything in Australia. So not expected to see anything in there in Australia. Look at the Aussie New Zealand that's coming off, isn't it? That's been whacked. Let's come back into my buy zone in Aussie New Zealand. It's too late in the day for me. but we've had this move. This is my buy zone from earlier, yesterday. Pipped into it, moved up to the upside. I thought we were going to move towards 110 and 110.50, but it's had a right sell off now, the Aussie. And New Zealand strength. So the New Zealand is putting on strength. Aussie. Oh, that's the 15 minute. I don't really look at that too much. Let's just have a look at the. So yeah, New Zealand's put on some strength. Aussie's put on some strength as well. So they're sort of like moving together. But Aussie, New Zealand is coming into a buy zone for me on a longer term trend. I mean, quite honestly, if I was trading today, yeah, I would be considering that. But I'm certainly not going to be taking that now. Right, guys. Thanks all. Have a good weekend. Jason, I don't know if he might be on later. I don't think he does do Friday nights, no. But we'll be in the chat room, certainly. He'll be in the chat room later. Have a good weekend all. Bright and early Monday morning, GMT. I'll be here for the London opening. And we'll see how we get on. I'll say my only open position is the Euro-Yen short, which I'm going to monitor for the next couple of hours and possibly take profits before the weekend. Well, we'll take profits before the weekend. Have a good weekend, and we'll speak to you on Monday. Trade safe, and whatever you're doing on the weekend, make sure you're here for Monday. Good luck.